Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new Mobile Pass performances, featuring exclusive buyer speed figures and expert analysis and selections. Go to drf.com/best and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 8 at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Derby Saturday. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 2 American Turf Stakes. $500,000 is the purse. An intriguing matchup between the speedy Smooth Like Straight, 8-5 on the morning line, and the late-running Field Pass at 2-1 on the morning line. As we take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector, Mike, Field Pass, the number 4, might have an advantage simply due to that red bar, which indicates the pace will be fast.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how fast this pace gets, Dan. I wasn't totally convinced it was going to be that fast, but I guess we'll see what happens. I think the good news for Field Pass is he's not a one-run closer. If they don't go fast, he really shouldn't be compromised, I don't think.
I do think that you make a very good point as to how fast the pace is going to be, because the 1 and the 2, Tyshawn and American Butterfly respectively, they're close to the pace. They've also never raced on turf before, and it'll be interesting to see if their dirt speed and form translates to the grass. Both of them have decent turf pedigrees. We'll begin with the 1, Tyshawn, who's a half to a turf winner. The sire, Twirling Candy, gets 13% first turf winners, and the dam was a stakes winner on the turf. Tyshawn tried some tough company in the Arkansas Derby, and in the Indiana Derby, he was just part of a fast pace that fell apart.
Yeah, he had an excuse last time. He doesn't really seem like a graded stakes horse on dirt, so I think he could take those last 2 races with a grain of salt. We'll just see if he handles turf, Dan. I realize that there's, some turf in his pedigree, but overall, I didn't really love his pedigree for the surface switch.
American Butterfly is by Kentucky Derby and Triple Crown and Breeders' Cup Classic winner American Pharaoh, who has been an excellent turf stallion. He gets 18% winners with first turf runners. The dam won on the turf. American Butterfly stretching out for Wayne Lucas. I can see Joe Talamo getting a little aggressive here.
I think this horse will probably be on the early lead in here. We'll see if he's good enough, and we'll see if he handles the turf. You're right on the face of it. American Pharaoh, war front mare. I mean, he's bred to handle it. We'll see if he does. I guess the biggest question I have is how far is he going to want to go, Dan? He's really all sprint in his pedigree, and he's going to stretch out here.
Sugoi, the number 3, was on the lead in this race at Ellis Park, his return to turf, and he was able to ride a nice slow pace. They went 48-3 in this 1-mile heat, and Sugoi is able to sprint on home and win it. I thought the performance was visually okay. Yes, he got the right setup in this race. I wonder, Mike, if he can sit from off the pace. I have a feeling he can. He's going to have to.
Yeah, I don't see why he can't. I mean, I know he got an easy lead in this race that we're watching here, and he won. But other than that, he looks like a horse who's been perfectly comfortable sitting from off the pace. He's handled synthetic. He's handled dirt. He's handled turf. It seems like he can do anything. The only question I have is whether he's good enough to beat this field.
I think that's a fair question to be sure, but both of his turf starts have been good. He seems to be improving with each and every start, and he still has some upside potential. That 87 buyer from the last race puts him relatively close. Field Pass might very well be the horse to beat. He's a graded stakes winner on synthetic. He's a graded stakes winner on turf, and he was just in a little too tough at a distance perhaps a little too far in the Saratoga Derby last time out. Class relief, tactical speed. Oh, no, he's got Michael Maker in his corner.
Yeah, I actually think it's really big class relief, too. That was a really good field he was in against last time. And while he was no threat in that race, he just wasn't good enough to beat them. It's not like he got totally embarrassed in that race. Prior to that, his Transylvania was good. His Audubon was good, where they just put him right on the lead. I know Smooth Like Straight beat him back in May over this turf course, but this horse got a ridiculously bad ride that day and actually ran really well.
Let's talk about Smooth Like Straight and go back to his most recent race, the La Jolla Handicap at Del Mar, where he took on Storm the Court, who's running in the Kentucky Derby. And this is what Smooth Like Straight does. He likes to get up to the lead, and he is just able to put away a game Storm the Court. Nice performance, 94 buyer, coming on the heels of a 96 buyer speed figure effort in the War Chant over this surface. He can get eager in the early portion of his race. I think if American Butterfly goes to the lead and Johnny V can get Smooth Like Straight to relax a little bit, that's an optimal situation.
Yeah, it is. I guess we'll see if he's going to be able to just sit a little bit. If that horse, American Butterfly, does beat him to the front, and we'll just see if that happens. But again, I really didn't think this pace would be that fast. This horse, he's really good. To me, his last race, it was almost like they handed that race to him. It wasn't a strong field. He got loose. He never really faced a serious challenge, but he still ran well, Dan. I think he's going to be really, really tough in here.
Sensation won 2 and 3 starts back on the lead. Now, he might not be as fast as Smooth Like Straight, but he'll be close to the pace in here. He set the fractions last time out in the Kent Stakes, and he paid the price. The Kent has come back a good race. Gufo, the winner, came back to run in the Saratoga Derby, and he ran second with a 93 buyer. The third finisher, Vanzi, came back to win the Jersey Derby with an 86 buyer. So this horse has kept some good company. I just don't like the idea of him being on the chase in here against a good horse like Smooth Like Straight, than having to reel him in and then hold off the closers.
Right. Yeah, we'll see what they decide to do with him, because he does have the look of a horse who just wants to be on the front at all costs. And in a race like this, maybe it'll just come down to intention. And if Bridge Mahan wants the lead, he can make this horse get to the lead. It might cost him in the end. We'll see how they ride him. I don't think he's good enough to beat this field. I don't really like too many of his races, but I wonder if they just go on a dead scent here from the gate.
King Theo, the number 7, turns back in distance off this race, an allowance effort at Ellis Park going 1 1/8 miles. Now, he has the lead, he has the inside, and talk about an easy pace. 1:15 and 3 for 3/4 of a mile, and he's just not able to hold it at the wire. I don't think this was the strongest field in the world. He's likely going to have to come from off the pace in here, and I wonder if there's much upside left after 10 starts.
Yeah, there may not be. I mean, at least in his defense, 10 starts, but he's really only concentrated on turf recently. His last 2 races are okay. They're not going to make him that tough for the 2 favorites in here. But I felt like he could maybe get a trip up close to the pace without being on the lead, and then maybe he could take another step forward.
Fancy Liquor, the 8, not only has some talent, he's been on the board in all 5 starts, including a stakes victory over Off Going at Indiana Grand, but he also has speed, and maybe he can push this pace and make it a little bit quick. He was able to get a little bit of a breather on the backstretch last time out, but he was passed in the lane, looked like he was in big trouble, and he dug right back in to win, and a couple of horses have come out of that race to score.
I thought he ran pretty well in that race. He did get to a clear early lead, but I mean, he actually ran to get there. I felt like he went a legitimate pace in there, and he was game to fight back. I'll tell you what, he ran well in the Transylvania 2-back too, Dan. It was close at the end. He was in between horses. He would not give an inch. He was a good third that day.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 2 American Turf at Churchill Downs. You like Field Pass. He's so versatile. And in a situation like this, I think the speeds are going to go. I think the pace will be legitimate. And I think Field Pass is the most logical late danger.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. I mean, at the end of the day, I just really wasn't against the 2 favorites in here. And of those 2 horses, I prefer Field Pass.
I like the upside of some of the other horses in this race. It's possible we've already seen Field Pass's best, and certainly his best is good enough to win this race. I'm curious to see what we get from Sugoi at a big price. I think he can sit from off of the pace and maybe get the jump on Field Pass. His buyers are moving the right way. I think he has another forward move left in him. I went 3-5-8-2. Mike's going 4-5-7-8. It's the Grade 2 American Turf, and it's race number 8 on Kentucky Derby Saturday at Churchill Downs.